involved. Not in a controlling way, just in a way of like I've been her before, and not only me but my husband as well. We're very protective of one, how old she is, and being in this industry, especially being a female that young, we get a little nervous. So we're already pretty protective of her, and already like literally like the song that she's performing, her original is like Julia Michaels, Justin Tranter, Nick Monson wrote, Jesse Shatkin produced. Like I wasn't thinking of it as just a song on The Voice, like an original. Like I was thinking as her first single, and I think that will help bridge to like her project coming out. So we really went after it hard. We're already talking about making a video for her. So I'm really trying to do what was done for me in the very beginning. So I'm not controlling, but I'm a really there cheerleader. Just because I get very nervous for her because she's so young.
Didn't you guys move in with her parents, and don't you live with them now?
Yeah, we just literally, all the time. I didn't have a joke. I'm so tired from the billboards. So sorry. I was trying to think of something witty, and I had nothing.
I got your back.
Yeah. No, but she's got great parents, and I'm glad you brought that up. And that's key. Like, it's the worst when you have a young kid. You get very nervous if there's like a stage mom or stage dad present. And her parents are really rad, really cool humans, care more about Bryn than her success. And that is really key, like when you're talking about a young artist. So.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Hello.
This is for Blake. You have two very different artists going into the finale, and you are the only coach to have two. Just want to congratulate you on that. Talk about Kyla and Spencer. They're very different. What is it about each of them do you think is resonating with America?
Well, they are completely different. I think with Kyla, it's just one of those vocalist that there is no way to look beyond what she's capable of doing vocally and how much of herself she leaves on the stage. She is a world-class vocalist, so that is what it is. Like it's absolutely undeniable, her talent, and the same for Spencer, but in a different way. And I feel like the Spencer story is pretty incredible on its own, because she's came onto the show with a direction musically, country music. That's what she wanted to do, and she's stuck to that path, and she is the real deal, I feel like. And it took a minute. Country music fans sometimes are slow to get on board with somebody. They want to know that they are the real deal and that they're authentic, and the fact that she was my save in the playoffs, but for the finale, she was the first name that was called out. Now, I know that's not in any particular order. Carson always says that, but it was crazy to know she was the first name called to go in that finale, and to think about all the hard work she put into it. She deserves it. They both deserve it.
Her face was priceless.
Yeah.
I think she thought it was great. She was like, wait, what?
I know.
Yeah.
All right, I have another question for Kelly. We're here from Bryn's hometown. How has it been working with someone so young, and how would you say she's handled herself this whole time?
That's what's super crazy. I know she just turned 15 like a few weeks ago, but what's kind of cool for me is we have a daughter that's 16, about to be 17, and she's very much older than her actual age. She's very smart, very witty, very like just adult. And Bryn is exactly like that. It's not what you would expect. You have conversations with her, even her vocabulary, like even like all of it is like her musical references. Like she's very much an old soul. So I think that's one thing that she's got going for her. I will say this. I say this to her all the time too, and I've said it again, but her age does scare me just because this industry, but she doesn't act her age, which is helpful. Not that there's anything wrong with being 14 or 15. I just mean it's a very emotional state, especially for a girl at that time, and to handle all this pressure, right off the bat is pretty insane to ask of anyone, so let alone a 15-year-old.
Well, the good news is if she wins, she goes to Republic Records, and it'll probably be 7 or 10 years before they actually put any music out on her. So
God, that is not true.
Her mid-20s.
That is not true.
Before a record comes out.
I'd like to strike that from the record,
we're
please.
We're going to
Judge.
push.
Thank you.
You're fine.
It's been stricken. Jury, please
We are
ignore
not
that
afraid
comment.
to throw people under the bus.
Been doing it for 14
No,
seasons.
but the thing is, I think why, and it's not out of anger. It's out of frustration though, because especially how hard Blake has worked for 14 seasons now for these artists, and you want the world for them, and Blake has been the one that's been, I guess, the most successful thus far, like with Ray Lynn, with Cassidy Pope, you've had several that have come out of the show that are especially in country, and it is a bummer when you work so hard for them and you push and you push and you call and make all your calls, you do everything you can, and there's not a team surrounding them that's really pushing, and we need that, so you every artist needs that. They need to be marketed, they need radio to be out there, they need all of that. So we are pushing for it. So it's not lack of desire. So
another question for Kelly. You've kind of been in Bryn's shoes before, so what kind of advice have you given her?
It depends on at different points in the competition. I've given her different advice just because at this point, I mean, all of us have people in the final 2 shows of The Voice this season, so they can't go any further. They can't get more TV time off of this. So for all of them, it really doesn't matter. It's now what happens after. It's working for that longevity that we all want for them, and now my advice is to really, with this single that we picked for her, this original song for this show, we wanted to be so solid, like such a solid first single for her, that it would be that bridge to gap till the next project or her full album. And there's just a lot of thought going into it. And the crazy thing about Bryn is, even being in the studio with her and even talking about videos or like her project, her mind already works. She's not just a great singer. She's not just a singer-songwriter. She's like really intelligent, especially for her age, and very clever. And I just think it's going to work to her advantage. So I'm honest to God, I'm more of a cheerleader than a coach. She's really got her stuff figured out for such a young little one. So,
Alicia, it's your time.
I was going to head back to the trailer and just finish getting ready. But I'm also happy to support Kelly.
yeah, I heard Britain's original. It's solid.
Yeah, it's sick.
Brad Johansson with WRAL-TV in Raleigh. And North Carolina has kind of had a little history with The Voice, as you got Brooke Simpson last year.
Oh, wait.
Now you've kind of
Wait, that wasn't me.
hooked in. It wasn't you, but Britain is
last
you.
year. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
Britain is you, and you kind of hooked into Britain from
Got
the
it.
very early go. My understanding is, as soon as you heard his original, you said, this is the one.
Yes, he actually sent 30 original songs, which is just an indication of what type of artist he is and how inspired he is. He also is only 18 years old, just turned 18 on the show. And, he's the real deal. And I love that so much about him, because he has such an old soul. He loves all the classic tunes. I mean, as he's in there like an encyclopedia. He knows things I don't even know. I'm like, how do you know all this depth and these layers of music? Is really inspiring, and it's really cool. And he calls himself like a music nerd. He's just all over great, timeless copyrights. And so when he sent his 30 original songs to say, hey, think one of these might work, it was really exciting just to hear the breadth of his capacity and his work. And obviously that also means that he has, an album ready tomorrow. So that's exciting as well. And it's all him. It's his work. It's his vision. It's his perspective. It's his life. It's his poetry. And so when I did hear it, I was in the trailer and my eyes became like 1,000 miles wide, because I was like, this is crazy. This kid is a kid. And he has so much to say, and he has such beautiful poetry of how to say it. I'm excited for y'all to hear it tonight, where we come from, how he wrote it, what it is. It's totally his world. And again, it solidifies why he's so special.
I know I'm going to have to pass this on, so I'll throw 2 out first. I don't know whether he told on you, but he said you gifted him with something as well. I'd like you to talk about that. And then for all of you, since you see so much of this after Alicia follows up on that, somebody on Twitter said, I think Britain may be this generation's next Elvis. And obviously you can't predict anything, but if you guys could kind of talk about what you see and what you see for the future on that.
Like in our artists.
First of all, I want you to talk about your gift, the gift that you gave.
I'm so
Well, myself and actually my engineer, Ellie, who is just a magnificent part of my career and part of building the sonics of my sound, and she's really into sonics, and she really cares about great music. And I think the minute that Britain said, how much he loved Bruce Springsteen, which she's also a massive Bruce Springsteen fan, as am I. I mean, who's not? You know what I mean? Who's not? So we did gift him a really special vintage, about 68 guitar. And it's a really special one. And as a guitar player, because he calls himself a guitar player first, just wanted something special for him to never forget this moment, because I think he's been putting in amazing work. And it wasn't supposed to be a whole news thing. It was more just out of the genuine wanting him to be encouraged and feel excited about his future.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
That's
It
beautiful.
was cool. He was really excited. You know, these kids are tired right now. I mean, they've been working really hard. They don't get a lot of sleep. They have
But
to
they're
go.
young. We're old. We're the tired ones.
No, I'm not tired.
I'm just
Can
kidding.
you guys
I'm not
talk
old.
about the whole Elvis and the prediction of whether or not you see somebody on stage that could be that big kind of thing?
I mean, I'll just jump in, you know, while I'm at it, before I head back to my trailer, is for me, Britton he has flavors of John Mellencamp. He has flavors of Bruce Springsteen. He has flavors of Elton John. He has flavors of, like, all these really powerful classic artists. He has flavors of an Ed Sheeran. That would probably be the version of today that is most closely relatable, but I think
But still so different.
He's not Ed Sheeran. He would never be like Ed Sheeran either, but there's just elements of that classicness that's all through him. John Mayer, I think, is inside of him somewhere too. So he's like none of them, and none of them are like him, but those elements are really cool pieces to influence you. Now, y'all.
You can go.
I don't know what. I'm sorry.
I don't know where I am.
I'm sorry.
No,
I agree.
Where we see our,
Where can your
where
artist,
you mean where our artists will go?
could your artist be another someone else, or with pieces of whomever, or something like that?
I don't think. I mean, that's what's so interesting. I think specifically about maybe Bryn and Britton as well. They're so young. It's hard for them really to be that influenced. That's why I think they're very unique. Both of them are super unique because they're so young, so they don't even have time to copy anyone yet. So, or imitate art, rather. So, I don't know. I think what's interesting with her, she has these elements of. I think the hardest part, and I told Bryn, actually, the hardest part for Bryn is going to be navigating that she's only 15, but she's such a lioness. Like when she performs, when she's in the studio, like she gives us such a womanly vibe. That it's like even finding a song for her was like, is that appropriate? Like you're like, because it's like you're only 15, but she's not a kid. Like she doesn't exude that either. So that's going to be the tricky part. And I think what's helpful is that she's a songwriter as well, and her stuff really does emulate what she's going through right now, but still in kind of an older way. But I don't know. There's no one like her. She's so. I don't know if anybody's been like her on The Voice because I've seen a lot of seasons and she's really particular.
But what I like about Bryn too is that she doesn't come off as if she's trying to be so sexy or trying to be.
She doesn't even care.
Like she's
a tomboy
totally in her vibe, and it's natural and it's organic. And back to the question that the lady asked you about what advice you would give her. I hope for, obviously she has you, and you're like one of the realest people that I've ever met. You have a really down to earth energy, and I would just love for her to forever, while in this industry, never get caught up with feeling like she has to be overtly anything.
We literally had that conversation. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So
because it's always a thing too, like in even we see where they especially take women in this industry, and it's always one of those things where it's like I am all about like women showing their sexuality, being confident in their skin, doing what they want to do, but at the same time you never want that to distract from your actual talent. Like to compliment, absolutely. But if you're distracting from it, then it's like, are you that talented to be there? Like, it's like, it's like, it should be a compliment, not a distraction. And I don't know, there's a beauty in a bit of mystique and, mystery. So.
Love it.
Go ahead. We're done talking.
All right, we forgot. We forgot
you were here.
It is. I want to hear a new question at this point.
New question. New question for Carson. Hi, Carson.
Oh, you didn't have to do that.
Oh, see?
Hi.
Me and Carson were like.
It's my
I want
aunt.
to talk to you about the. I don't know. Is this on? Hi.
Hi.
I want to talk to you about the evolution of The Voice.
Yeah.
And just kind of get your thoughts about how you feel the show has evolved over the years and maybe what stayed the same.
Well, two things come to mind. You know, when we came to the marketplace with the show, people thought we were crazy. We had X Factor coming in from overseas, Idols at its top. People thought we were nuts to do another singing competition in primetime on NBC. But the network was smart, got Mark Burnett Productions. We got 4 great qualified coaches who knew what they were doing. We swung for the fences, if you will, and here we are 14 seasons later. People also thought that The Voice being on twice a year would be too much and we would burn out. You can ask Mark about Survivor that does the same thing on CBS. So the DNA of this show has just worked so well, and I think as producers what we've really tried to do is just keep the best singers on TV. Tonight's finale is a great example of that because the combined age of Bryn and Britton is still 10 years younger than me.
Like a fine wine, brother.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
We recently decided to lower our age for this reason. It's so great to see these young performers getting a light shined on them on national television in a finale because there's something about we've seen in this show. We've seen great voices on The Voice, but there's something really extra special about seeing a 15-year-old, an 18-year-old, because it's more than just a great voice. It's like a superpower. It's like watching an Avengers movie. You're watching something extraordinary. And as a producer, to put something extraordinary on TV, I think this show over 14 seasons has been able to find a way to keep that. And we've done it by bringing in things like the steel. All those are all just devices to keep great singers around. The block this year was a fun new addition to our blind audition. So I think the show's done a good job of not changing anything, but constantly staying ahead of the curve.
And as well as it is exciting for the younger ones, but it's also awesome for people like Kyla who deserve it and haven't had their chance. Because I know plenty of singers that sing their tails off and around everybody on radio, including myself, and they don't get their shot. So this is a really great opportunity
Absolutely.
for aligning of the stars for them. So I don't know. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. That's all the time we have today. I'm so sorry. Thank you.
Well, but they didn't ask Adam any. Oh, he's not in the finale. That's right.
Kelly, you look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Can we talk for a second about fitness and fashion?
yes.
Which I know you have to go, but
No, yes.
I have to shout you out for looking amazing.
Oh, thank you. You know what? I have to shout out my whole glam squad. I literally hired Harry Potter. So, yeah.
Great job
And
last night.
Thanks.
Great job last night.
It's all like a sausage.
Thank you guys very much for coming.